Hello my beautiful YouTube friends. Today I'm here to review the Akimbo series by Alexander McCall Smith. Now previously I had never read anything by Alexander McCall Smith, but I am very happy to state that I will probably be reading many more of his books in the future. Now the Akimbo series comprises 5 books currently. I believe it's a concluded series, but I don't know if Alexander McCall Smith in a few years could decide to publish more books like he did after the first 3 were published. Anyway, I'm going to show you what the 5 books are in their chronological order. The first is Akimbo and the Elephants. The second is Akimbo and the Lions. The third is Akimbo and the Crocodile Man. The fourth is Akimbo and the Snakes. And the final one is Akimbo and the Baboons. Now not only are these covers beautifully designed and brightly colored, but the illustrations inside of these books are marvelous as well. We not only have scenes where you actually see these lovely illustrations, but there's actually a couple of pages in the book where the story is set in the nighttime, and we have this lovely black background with white text, and I just think it is marvelous. Unfortunately, the last 2 books, I think because they were published at a later point in time, they don't actually have the background with the white text like the first 3, but that's just a different thing altogether. I think the books were lovely. There was one thing that I really did not like with the story, and that was the fact that in one of the books, Akimbo puts himself into a very dangerous position, and he is able to get out of that situation and go and get help and then kind of lead the group of rescuers that way. But the end of the book, he really doesn't seem to get very much consequence for his actions. He just kind of gets a pat on the shoulder and good job, thanks for the help. And it just seemed very unrealistic to me. So that was one downside, and that was pretty much the only downside I had with this series. It's about Akimbo who lives in Africa in a game reserve, and I've read very few books set in Africa. Actually, this series is probably the only one I have read that is actually set in Africa. And having the main character live on a game reserve, you'd think you're going to get this huge bombardment of animals. But Alexander McCall Smith is very brilliant in the way he wrote the story. He actually has each book focus on one animal, and he not only engages the reader in the story, but he informs and educates them about Africa, about that animal and its habitat, and I really enjoyed that with this series. Now, one thing I want to mention is you could pretty much read each of these books individually should you want to, but if you actually read them in the publication date, you're going to see a growth in Akimbo's character. You'll see mentioned the previous book perhaps, or you'll see mentioned something that Akimbo remembers and has learned, and he shares that with the reader or with another character. And the time when you actually see the largest amount of growth in Akimbo's character is after the 3rd book and in the 4th and 5th book. And I think because there was such a time gap in the writing, Alexander McCall Smith decided to write Akimbo's character as a little older, a little wiser, a little smarter, a little more knowledgeable, and that's why his character seems older. Although the character of Akimbo is never given an actual age, I think he's between 8 to 12 years old, and that's why I think this series, I don't usually do this, but I think this series is perfect for the ages of 6 to 12. I think specifically with boys who love adventure stories and animals, but really don't like reading, are going to love these books. And I'm so happy that I read them, because I not only found an author that I really enjoyed reading, but I also found a series that I really enjoyed as well. So that's my review, guys. If you would like to share anything in the comments down below, feel free. I would love to talk to you. And until next time, go and pick up a random book and read. Bye, guys.